The Yankees just split a rain-shortened series with the Red Sox. They lost the first game, won the second game. And honestly, the series feels bigger than the standings because the Yankees are playing without Aaron Judge. They're trying to figure out where the offense comes from. They're trying to stabilize the bullpen that's been shaky. And they're trying to prove that they can survive this stretch of the season. After Game 1, it would have been easy to feel like the same problems are showing up again. Missed opportunities, not enough offense, another loss. But instead, the Yankees responded. Schlittler responded. Tim Hill responded. And maybe most importantly, the lineup responded. This wasn't a dominant series, but it was an important one. So Game 1, the Yankees lose 5-3. We had Ryan Weathers on the mound. He ends up going 6 innings, giving up 5 earned runs on 7 hits and 1 walk. 2 of those hits were home runs, and he got 4 strikeouts. As for the offense, we had solo home runs from Ben Rice and from Trent Grisham. And another positive offensively was Spencer Jones going 3 for 3 with a double and an RBI. The Yankees did, however, have 2 runners on and 1 out in the 9th inning against Aroldis Chapman and failed to score. So that was a tough 5-3 loss against the Red Sox, your big rivals, in Game 1. Game 2 ends up getting postponed and rescheduled for the end of August 29th. And then in Game 3, we see Cam Schlittler for the first time since he got roughed up a little bit in his last outing. And he ends up being very solid, going 5.2 innings, giving up only 1 earned run on 4 hits and 1 walk while getting 5 strikeouts. The game was tied 1-1 in the 8th, and the Yankees ended up having a 5-run inning. Started off with the solo home run from Cody Bellinger, and capped off by the 3-run homer from Jazz Chisholm. Yankees had multi-hit games from Goldschmidt, Bellinger, and Grisham, who's gotten his average up to 222. And it's important to note that Tim Hill, after giving up runs in his past 3 outings, comes out in a tie 1-1 game in the 8th inning and gets a 1-2-3 inning. And Bednar comes out and gets a 1-2-3 9th inning as well. So the Yankees end up winning that game 6-1, and they leave this series with a split. But the story isn't really about the split, it's about the response after Game 1. Because this team could have let things spiral. We've seen that happen in the past. But instead, they pushed back. So what held in this series? Well, one of the most important things was Cam Schlittler's response. And this was huge. He had the first really rough outing of his season against Cleveland. And it's important, how do you respond? That's what separates prospects from major leaguers. Schlittler answered. Again, his stat line, 5.2 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. And that's against Boston, your division rival, in a game you need to win. It's exactly what you want to see. Cam Schlittler stood up and answered the call. The second thing that held was the lineup found contributions from all over. We had no Judge. No problem? Not exactly. But we found enough offense. Having the multi-hit games from Goldschmidt, Bellinger, Grisham, the Yankees need a collective offense right now. You don't have that one big superstar in your lineup at the moment. So you need to have the secondary contributions. And the Yankees got it in Game 2. And the third thing that held was Tim Hill responded. And this deserves attention because lately we've been criticizing him, and rightfully so. 3 straight outings giving up runs. Then you come in a high-pressure situation, tie game, 1-1 in the 8th, and you pitch a scoreless inning, getting the win in the game. And that's a big bounce-back moment. So, important to note, hopefully he continues to build off of that outing. What did not hold in this game was the offense in Game 1. So it's a game we end up losing by 2 runs. And the Yankees had opportunities in the game. They had traffic on the bases. They had 2 runners on with 1 out in the 9th and got nothing. You had Anthony Volpe sit there and watch 3 straight fastballs right down the middle for strike 1, strike 2, and strike 3. So, while we found the offense finally in the 8th inning of Game 2, there was no offense to be found in Game 1, aside from those solo home runs that I mentioned earlier. Second thing that didn't hold, Ryan Weathers was again not sharp. Going 6 innings is valuable, but giving up 5 earned runs on 7 hits, 2 of which were home runs, that is just not good enough against anyone, especially not against Boston. And the third thing that didn't hold was the margin remains thin. Because even that win didn't come easy. You know, we finally broke through in the 8th inning. But up until then, we only scored 1 run. Only scored 3 runs the game before. The Yankees aren't exactly in a place where they can comfortably absorb mistakes. And without Judge, that's even more amplified. So, did the Yankees respond in this series? Absolutely. This is one of the easiest yes answers we've had in a while. Game 1 ends in frustration, in a missed opportunity. You're questioning the offense. Is anybody going to come through with the big hit while we don't have Judge in the lineup? And then this last game happens. And Schlittler bounces back, and Hill bounces back, and the offense explodes late in the game. That is a response, and that's huge. So the turning point of this series, well, it's got to be the 8th inning of Game 3. Scores 1-1. It's a tight game. They lost the first game. This is the type of game the Yankees have struggled to close out early in this season. And then you have the Bellinger home run. And then the offense keeps going. You have the single, stolen base, single that scores another run. And then you have Jazz deliver the knockout punch with a 3-run homer. And all of a sudden, it's 6-1 at the end of 8 innings. And it goes from being a close game where if the Red Sox win it, they sweep you after losing 2 out of 3 to Cleveland. And instead, we win the game and the series is completely changed. So what were our player performances, our positive player performances? Well, first and foremost, I got to give it to Cam Schlittler. This was the story of the series because it's not just that he dominated, but he responded. Every young pitcher gets hit every once in a while. Great pitchers respond to that. This looked like a huge response from Cam Schlittler that he's not affected by getting hit in one game. He's going to come out the next game and be just as good as he was before. Our concern coming out of this series is the offensive margin without Judge. The Yankees can survive, but they still walk a very tight rope. Every game feels a little bit harder. Every run is a little bit more important. We broke through in Game 2. We did not break through in the first game. So it would be nice to more consistently be able to rely on these guys. And we know that they can do it, but will they do it consistently moving forward? And another player who's trending is Trent Grisham. And this is quietly important. He has the home run in the first game. He's got the multi-hit game, 3 hits in the last game, bringing his average up to 222, which is important because he was well below 200 the beginning of the season, the first couple months. And he's had good defense, better at bats. The Yankees need secondary contributors right now, and he is becoming one. He did that last year. It's nice to see him start to finally contribute in important ways this season. As for our structural check, what did this series tell us? Well, the things that are aligned are Schlittler's development, because, like I said, as a young pitcher, you're going to get hit. He hasn't gotten really hit up until this point, until the last game against Cleveland. To come out and pitch another spectacular performance going into the 6th inning, only giving up 1 run, that's huge. That is huge. Another thing that's aligned is the team's resilience. Once again, you get knocked down in game 1, you come back up in the last game of the series and come out swinging. And to have that big 5-run inning in this last game was very, very important to build the confidence of this team. Another important thing is the veteran contributors are stepping up. Paul Goldschmidt has been on a heater, and he has been a significant part of this offense. And, you know, they said they brought him back as a Giancarlo Stanton insurance, and that has paid off tenfold. But now you're going to need him to keep contributing now with Judge out. So it's nice to see him doing it, and we need to see him continue to do it. And what is still concerning from this series? Well, it's, again, the offensive consistency. Now, we were seeing the inconsistency with Judge in the lineup, but we didn't know that he had been hurt since April 26th. So that kind of explains why he was falling off a little bit, and that leaves a little bit of a hole in your lineup when he's not hitting. Now that we know that, we need to be able to have, like I said, multiple contributors up and down the lineup. Now that you've got healthy guys in the lineup, they need to be able to get the hits when it matters most. You have to get the timely hits when guys are in scoring position. Like, I really loved what we did in the 8th inning. After that Bellinger home run, and you've got hit, stolen base, hit that scores a run. They produced that run. They took that run. When you steal bases, you make things happen. You put somebody into scoring position, and then a base hit knocks them in. And like I said, every single run counts, especially with Judge out. So you need to find more ways to make offense. Our biggest takeaway from this series: the Yankees are beginning to answer the adversity better. A month ago, that first game may have snowballed into a lost series. This time, they pushed back, and that shows growth. So, what have we learned from this series? Well, number one, the most important thing, Schlittler passed an important test. It wasn't about numbers. We know he's got great numbers on the season. It was about responding, and he did that. You get hit, you come back, you punch back. And he did. Second thing that we learned, the Yankees can still win without Judge. Not easily, but they can. They showed that offense in the last game. And then the third thing that we learned is the postponed game is actually could be a big deal. The August 29th makeup date could be very significant because there's a real chance Judge could be back in the lineup at that point. And that means potentially one fewer game played without him. It's a small detail, but it's potentially a big impact. Just remember, last year, The reason we didn't host the American League Divisional Series against the Blue Jays is because the Blue Jays won the American League East by a tiebreaker. So that one game could mean everything. If we look at our trend lines, what's trending up right now is Cam Schlittler. His performance was great. Tim Hill, his response, fantastic. You love to see it. Earn the win. And the team's resilience. Again, you lose that first game, easy to get down on yourself, but they were resilient. They came back. The offensive margin, I'm not going to say it's trending downwards. We've had an issue with the margin all year long, but it's something that we have to keep an eye on. And then our life without Judge, it is going to clearly be a challenge. Like I've said in the past, with Judge out, what we need to do is we need to beat the teams that we are clearly better than, and there's a lot of them, and we need to compete with the teams that might be playoff contenders. So next series, we're going back to face the Guardians. They could be a potential playoff team. They just took 2 out of 3 from us in New York. This is going to be an important one to see, can we compete with them? We don't necessarily have to win every game, sweep the series, whatever, but we need to be able to compete. We need to be able to produce runs, take runs, do what we need to do to win games. So, what should we watch for in the next series? Number one is, can the offense keep finding different contributors, because that is the key while Judge is out. Whether that's Cody Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Rice to continue having the great season he's having. It'd be nice to see the bottom of the lineup, Volpe, McMahon, Caballero. It'd be nice to see those guys contribute. JC Escaro, we're going to see more of with Wells on the IL. So hopefully we can get some big hits from those guys. Number 2 is, can Tim Hill stabilize? Now, we've seen him come out now after his 3 appearances in a row giving up runs. He comes out 1, 2, 3 inning, gets himself the win in a high leverage situation. Can he continue to build on that moving forward? Now we'll see in this series. Hopefully he has more opportunities in high leverage situations in this series to get the hold or the win or whatever it may be. And then the third thing to watch for is now Garrett Cole. How is he going to respond to his last outing, which was not very good against Cleveland? So he's going against Cleveland again. Hopefully he can figure it out, make some adjustments, and return to that dominant form that we saw in his first 2 appearances this season. For our final verdict, the Yankees didn't dominate this series. They didn't overwhelm Boston. They didn't prove everything is fine without Aaron Judge. But they did prove something important. They didn't fold. And after Game 1, after the injury concerns, after the recent struggles, they responded. And right now, that is important. Because surviving this stretch isn't about perfection. It's about finding enough ways to keep moving forward until your superstar returns. And that's the standard. It's not avoiding adversity, but proving that you can answer it. This is The Standard with Brian Leavy.